Hello all. I'm here to take you through how to use the GA4 to BigQuery tool that we recently released. This tool will allow you to unlock your GA4 data, build the links between your daily and historical interactions, and as well allow you to bypass some of the GA4 front end with a new dashboard. Keep in mind, if you're using this tool on enterprise level data, so hundreds of millions of rows or more, there may be some performance issues, so just be aware of that. So, to get this tool going, we have to do three main things. One, we need to make sure that our analytics logs are exporting into BigQuery. Two, we want to create a service key so the tool has temporary access to your environment. And three, we want to run through the tool configuration and run the tool itself. So, let's go through these step by step. Step one, let's make sure we have BigQuery. So, if we go to our Google Cloud Console, up here, we want to search for BigQuery. And go over here. The main thing we want to make sure is that we do have a BigQuery environment set up. If we don't, it will ask you to configure it and turn it on. Just do that. Once we see something like this, the next thing we want to make sure is we have the link built. So we go to Analytics. If you go to your Analytics environment, in the bottom left here, click on Admin. Under Admin, under Product Links, you will see an option for BigQuery links. So we'll go there, click on that. And over here in the top right, there is a link button. Now, I already have built this link, but I can show you some screenshots of what it would look like. So if we click on this, it'll ask us first what BigQuery project we want to use to export these to. So select your BigQuery project from here. And then the next step is it'll ask you what you need to export. So make sure all the data streams are going, as well as daily and streaming data is going out. Once you've configured that, and if this is your first time doing it, you'll need to wait a day because the tool expects there to be some historical data to start flattening the tables. Great. You've done this, you've waited a day, the data is exporting. The next thing we need to do is we need to build a service key to give the tool access. So if we go back to our console, this time we are looking for I am an admin. Once we go to I am an admin, you will see all the principals that have access to the environment. We actually want to go to service accounts over here, and we want to create a service account. Let's just give it a name like GA4 tool for now. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure we have the right roles. The main roles that we want are BigQuery user, so that it can access all the tools that it here, and also BigQuery data viewer. So I've added data viewer, and now I'm just going to add BigQuery user, and then done. Once that's been done, we will have the tool here. What we need to do is we need to save a local key that the tool will use. So we'll click on the little three dots here, go to Manage Keys, and over here we will add a key. We want to create a new key, we want to create a JSON key, and then we'll click Create. This will download a file to your local environment that you will use as part of the tool. And then the other thing we recommend as well is once you've run the tool and everything is working and the data has been created, we can delete this. We no longer need it, and if you ever need to rerun the tool again for some reason, just create a new one. This is to make sure everything stays nice and secure. Excellent. So we have the data exporting, we've got the key that we're going to use. Time to go to the GA4 to BigQuery tool and Streamlit, and then run some of the configure options that we need to do. All the log data is in UTC, so what we want to make sure is that it's localized to your time zone. In this case, I live in New Zealand, so I want to make sure I select Oceania and New Zealand as the country. That will give you what the offset is going to apply to the timestamp to make sure it's local. The next thing we can do is we can adjust the date range. So this is in those cases where there is a lot of data available. So we can select days, which will pull in only the days of the current month, or we can pull on months, which will pull in only the months of the current year. In most cases, unless you have a metrically huge amount of data, we just want to run all. So here is some of the steps of what we've just gone through. I try to do that. And this is itself where we configure and run the tool. So if we go to Browse Files, we will select a key I've prepared earlier for the website. And now it'll ask you for the project ID and the dataset ID. So if we go back to the console, you'll see you've got the dataset ID here. It'll have something dot something. The first part's dataset. The next thing is the environment. So I just usually like to copy this, go back here, put in the project ID, and then put in the dataset ID over here. Then the tool itself will run. So you can see it runs through a few checks at the beginning. It checks that there is events yesterday, so this is to ensure that streaming is actually running. Then it'll check for traffic today. On the off chance you have no traffic on your website today, just go and visit it and then run the tool again. It will then pass this check. Then it'll check whether there's known or unknown users to create the appropriate tables as required. It'll then generate all your parameters and keys, and it'll run through everything else. It'll create a user table view, an event table view, and then if you have e-commerce, which it'll check for, it'll also create an items table view to do that. And then it'll create mini tables, which are just clean tables for views for you to use. And then at the end, it will open up a link to a Looker dashboard. So if you click this link and open up the report, you'll see a templated view. You'll probably see something that you don't have access to. That's fine. If you click up here and go to use my own data, you can then replace each of these views as required with the appropriate data. So if you click replace data, it'll give you the access to all the tools you have access to, or tables you have access to. You can click here and you can select the appropriate tables, and that will refresh and update the data here. You'll notice that I don't have items replaced here. That doesn't matter. There's no e-commerce on this particular site, but if you do, you will have an items table mini view there as well. So I hope you find that useful, and if you have any questions or any feedback, please get in touch with us. Thank you for your time.